Hello and welcome to Spectrum Television News at 12. I am Uyai Anyeka and come to you live from Uyo, the capital city of Akwa Ibom State, Nigeria. Let's take a look at the major stories. President Bola Tinubu to swear in new ministers on Monday. Governor Umoino pledges readiness to work beyond party lines with federal civil servants case. We'll bring you details of these stories and more in a moment. Tinubu, who will on Monday, August 21st, swear in the newly appointed ministers. The event is built to hold at the State House Conference Aso Villa in Abuja by 10 a.m. A statement by the Director, Information Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Willie Basi, said the ministers are allowed to come with 2 guests each. He, however, listed the ministers and their assigned portfolios to include Minister of Arts, Culture and the Creative Economy, Hannatu Musawa, Minister of the Beta Edu, amongst others. Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu has assured investors that his ongoing repositioning of the economy will receive a boost as he conducts an intensified review on efficiency in service, tax reviews, and improved security. Receiving the Managing Director of Energy and Natural Resources in Europe, Africa and Middle East for Standard Chartered Bank, Ade Adiola, told the delegation that tax reforms are being undertaken with a close observance of best practices across the globe that will favor businesses for the collective prosperity of the nation. The tropical diseases, NTDs, one of which is onchocerciasis, popularly known as river blindness. The National Coordinator, Neglected Tropical Diseases, Federal Ministry of Health, Fatai Oyediran, gave the assurance at a 2-week workshop held for entomologists drawn across the 6. While addressing participants at the workshop, said the disease poses serious obstacle to the national achievement of universal health coverage. According to him, among all NTDs, Nigeria has the highest burden of the disease, popularly known as river blindness globally, adding that in the efforts to eradicate the disease, academics and researchers have been assisting the government in training program officers. On judicial matters, there are over 6.9 billion naira alleged procurement fraud has been stalled due to the absence of the first and second defendants who are said to be indisposed. Reports say Emefiele will be arraigned alongside a female CBN employee, Saadatu Yaro, and her company, April 1616 Investment Limited, on 20 charges of procurement fraud, conspiracy and conferring corrupt advantages on his associates. Meanwhile, the Federal High Court sitting in Lagos has allowed the federal government to withdraw the charge of illegal possession of firearm and possession against the suspended CBN governor of Godwin Emefiele today. In a separate development, the Nigerian Navy has impounded a 350,000-litre capacity vessel carrying suspected illegal refined diesel. According to the commander of the maritime component of Operation Delta Safe, Adedokun Sibande, the intelligence and surveillance, Sibande explained that the vessel, which was carrying capacity of 350,000 litres, acts as a storage tank for the product. He promised that all involved in the operation will be arrested and brought to book.
This water tank have been converted as storage tank as well for these illegal products, and the vessel hasn't been to sea for the past 2 years. It was expected to be under maintenance, but it's being used for a different purpose, whereby people from the illegal refinery site bring their products to this place to be stored, whereby other people also come here to purchase the products. So the vessel has been arrested and necessary procedure will be taken in line with extant regulation binding on Operation Delta Safe Operations. Also to inform you, because it tankers with about 33,000 liters of products suspected to be crude oil were also arrested by.
In education, the Tertiary Education Trust Fund says the recent monetary policy of the Central Bank of Nigeria has created difficulties in the payment of tuitions and stipends to students it placed on foreign scholarships. The Executive Secretary of TED Fund, Sonny Etono, disclosed this at a one-day stakeholders engagement on emerging issues with the TED Fund intervention in Abuja. Etono is considering suspending foreign scholarships and instead undertaking an upward review of local scholarship. Back here on the home front, Akwa Ibom State Governor Pastor Omoyeno has pledged his readiness to work beyond party lines with federal civil servants from Akwa Ibom State Extraction in as Permanent Secretary and directors at the Akwa Ibom State Liaison Office Abuja, emphasized that he was ready and free to interact with his people, assuring that he will create time to attend to level to use their positions to bring about live transforming projects back home. Responding to comments raised during the interactive section, the state's chief executive maintained that his administration will provide adequate accommodation to Akwa Ibom indigents working with the Federal Civil Service, as well as partner with the Akwa Ibom community in Abuja to start a small housing scheme that will enable indigents resident in the FCT to have affordable accommodation. Governor Enoch thanked everyone for coming out and implored Akwa Ibom and to support his administration to make Akwa Ibom better. In the meantime, residents of Uyo, the Akwa Ibom state capital, have again lamented the current economic situation of the country, describing it as harsh and unsatisfying. A correspondent, Esther Otoyo, who sampled citizens' opinion on the cost of living, completes the report.
Residents of Uyo were speaking with cost of living of the citizens. They said that the removal of subsidy at the moment was not a wise decision, stressing that modalities such as functioning refineries should be put in place before subsidy removal.
Economy is something else. I was thinking this new government is coming in to make things easier for us, but the way we're looking at it, I don't think it's like we are from fry pan to fire.
The economy of this country is very, very bad. It's not something to be happy about. You can imagine somebody is buying fuel for 10,000 naira. You cannot even get 10 bars of fuel. You cannot even use that fuel to even travel from Akwa Ibom to Calabar. Is that one a country? Is it a life? It's not a life. So our president will try to do something about it.
As I see the economy of Nigeria, things are getting hard. Some people are suffering. Transportation now, it's hard for people to move from one place to another. And you can see things like food items is costly. So people are suffering.
Other residents, while sharing their experience as a result of the subsidy removal, urged the government to implement social protection measures to mitigate the impact of the subsidy elimination on the vulnerables, such as essential goods and services, subsidies, job creation initiatives, and oil sector reform to increase local production and reduce Nigerians' reliance on importation refined petroleum.
It's very poor. I am trekking all the way from Barracks Road to Oran Road. 50 naira we used to pay is now 150, 100 naira. So people are suffering. Look at people. Fine guys, fine ladies. You will see some people faint, collapse anyhow. Because of what? Hungry. Things are high. Biscuit of 50 naira is now 100 naira. Now, present rate of 100 naira is now 150 naira. Tell me, if you don't have what to do, how will you eat?
Life is really hard. The fuel situation is actually not ideal again. Life is tough. People are trekking, as you can see. Nobody wants to go through the vehicle because by the place you used to pay maybe 100 naira, and you find it difficult to pay 200 now because most of the vehicle they'll tell you 200. So it's actually very crunchy.
In Uyo, Esther Otoyo, Spectrum News.
We move now to Africa, where the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, has condemned the killing of at least 17 Nigerian soldiers in a recent ambush close to the Mali border. In a statement in response to the killing of the Nigerian soldiers, ECOWAS said that the country had become vulnerable as a result of President Mohamed Bazoum being ousted by the military coup. The West African bloc cautioned the coup plotters about the importance of adhering to its order by re-establishing constitutional order. Still in Africa, more than 60 people reportedly feared dead after a boat carrying migrants from Senegal was found off Cape Verde in West Africa. Reports say 38 people, including children, were rescued on the island of Sal. Meanwhile, Cape Verde officials have called for global action on migration to help prevent further loss of lives. On the foreign scene, prosecutors have asked the judge to set a trial date of March 4 next year for the election racketeering and conspiracy case against former President Donald Trump in the U.S. state of Georgia. The defense is likely to push for a later start with a 77-year-old, Republican billionaire facing 4 criminal trials as he bids for a return to the White House. But reports say the proposal would place the opening just one day before Super Tuesday, when more than a dozen states vote in the Republican primary contest that would determine who will be the party's flag bearer in the 2024 election. It would also become just 8 days before Georgia's vote. Recall that Trump was indicted Monday on charges of racketeering and a string of election crimes after a sprawling 2-year probe into his efforts to overturn his 2020 defeat to Joe Biden in the Peach State. Still on the foreign scene, the head of the Ukrainian's military administration, Sergei Lasyk, has said that 10,000 people endured a temporary power outage after Russian missiles struck Ukraine's Zaporizhzhia region early today. Lasyk, in a Telegram post, said no casualties were reported and power had been restored. According to Lasyk, the power outage comes a day after Russian shelling killed 1 civilian and injured 6 others in the region. Still to come in the news. Man City beat Sevilla on penalties to win first UEFA Super Cup. Stay tuned for details of this and more after this timeout. Thanks for staying tuned, and now to the rest of the news stories. In business, the Nigeria Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative (NIAT) has announced that Nigeria earned $741.5 billion and 635.3 billion naira from the oil and gas and solid minerals sectors respectively between 1999 and 2020. NIAT's Executive Secretary Ogbonnaya Orji announced this at a stakeholders roundtable organized by the agency in Abuja for the review and approval of NIAT 2021 audit reports for the oil, gas and solid mineral sectors. In his address at the event, Orji stated that Nigeria had spent $74.39 billion, which translates to 13.7 trillion naira, adding that Nigeria spent an average of 805.7 billion naira annually and 67.1 billion naira monthly. Still in business, the chairman of Real Estate Developers Association of Nigeria, Lagos chapter, Bamidele Onalaja, has said that the real estate sector is currently facing soaring inflation, creating a worrying trend and grave impact on the sector. The chairman said this at a press conference in Lagos where they called for the understanding of everyone. He appealed to all the government agencies responsible for regulating what to be done without all over the world. On our health news, Governor Abdulrahman Abdulrazak of Kwara State has pledged his commitment and willingness to collaborate with partners towards providing eye care services in the state. He said this during the formal presentation of eye equipment donated by an international charity, Sight Savers, to the state. Represented by the State Head of Service, Susan Oluwale, he said his administration is committed to revamping the healthcare system across the 16 local government areas of the state. Abdulrazak commended Sight Savers for their donation of eye care equipment while describing the gesture as exemplary. According to him, this is what is required of development partners and that the state is ready to collaborate with partners on progress in the healthcare system across the state. Still in health, endocrinologists have advised people with blood sugar levels that are high. Such individuals have a medical condition known as pre-diabetes, while noting that the progression from pre-diabetes to type 2 diabetes is not inevitable. The endocrinologist stressed that it could be reversed through proper diets and exercises. According to the Center for Diseases Control and Prevention at CDC, pre-diabetes is a serious health condition that puts people at increased risk of developing type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and stroke. The CDC noted that pre-diabetes mostly goes undetected until it progresses into type 2 diabetes, which is considered a very serious health condition. The experts therefore urged people with pre-diabetes to avoid sweetened beverages, alcohol, and overprocessed food. They explained that heavily processed foods often contain added sugar, a fast-acting carbohydrate that can quickly spike insulin levels. In sports, Manchester City has added the UEFA Super Cup to the treble they claimed last season with victory over Sevilla on penalties in Athens. Pep Guardiola's Champions League winners lost the Community Shield to Arsenal in a shootout, but saw their fortunes transformed when Sevilla's Nemanja hit the bar after 9 successful penalties. Meanwhile, Sevilla goalkeeper Bono and his Manchester City counterpart Ederson both excelled with fine saves before man of the match Cole Palmer rose at the far post in the 63rd minute to level with a looping header from Roddy's cross. It set up the 10th finale that resulted in another piece of silverware being added to Guardiola's vast collection. Still in sports, Novak Djokovic is to victory at the Cincinnati Open in his first singles match in the United States in 2 years. The 23-time Grand Slam champion had been unable to compete in the U.S. over COVID protocols, but rules for unvaccinated Alejandro Davidkovic, who later retired with a back issue. The victory was the 36-year-old Serb's first time playing singles in Cincinnati since 2019, although he lost in doubles on Tuesday when he and compatriot Nicola Sassi were beaten by Britain's Jamie Murray and Michael Venus of New Zealand. On entertainment news, famous Nigerian Afrobeat musician Davido is set to perform at the forthcoming Professional Footballers Association Awards (PFA). The event is scheduled to take place at the Laurie Theatre, Manchester, on Tuesday at the 50th PFA Awards. And that's all we have for you at this time. Do also follow us on social media. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website, spectrumtv.ng. You have been watching Spectrum Television News at 12. I am Uyai Anekan. Thanks for watching and enjoy the rest of your day. Good afternoon.